Gentlemen, let me begin with a truth that may shock you. For decades, men have been tormented by the same question. Does size really matter? The jokes on television, the endless exaggerations on social media, the whispers in locker rooms, everywhere you turn, the message seems the same. Bigger is always better. And yet millions of men, even in their 60s and 70s, quietly carry the same private fear. Am enough? I'm Dr. Mohit Kara, a board-certified urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience, helping men just like you reclaim their confidence, protect their intimacy, and live with dignity. I've spoken with thousands of men who confess this same worry, and I've seen how deeply it can wound not only their sex lives, but their marriages, their self-esteem, and their sense of worth as men. But here's where it gets interesting. Science tells a very different story than the myths we've been sold. Study after study shows that women do not secretly long for extremes. In fact, their private preferences fall squarely in the range most men already have. The truth is far more comforting and far more surprising than you might believe. In this video, I promise to give you their research-backed answer to the question you've carried for years: exactly how many inches women actually want. And before I reveal the numbers, I'll also share the 5 mistakes men over 60 make that quietly destroy their confidence and the steps you can take to rebuild it. Stay with me because what you're about to hear could change the way you see yourself forever. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that button and turn on the bell so you'll never miss another honest science-based health tip made especially for men in their 60s and beyond. And if this message speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 and let me know how I can serve you better. Let's begin with the first and most damaging mistake: believing the myths we see in movies, hear in jokes, or scroll past on social media. These exaggerated images create unrealistic standards that quietly rob men of confidence, even though scientifically most are already right where they need to be. Mistake number 1, believing media myths. Number 1, believing media myths. For as long as I've been practicing medicine, I've watched men torture ethms with one of the cruel tricks our culture plays on them: the myth of size. You see it everywhere. Movies that exaggerate, magazines that sensationalize, friends who boast in the locker room, and endless posts online that celebrate only the extremes. It's no wonder that so many men, even well into their 60s and 70s, quietly measure themselves against these false standards and come away feeling inadequate. I've had men sit across from me in my office, shoulders hunched, eyes down, whispering as if they were admitting to a crime: "Doctor, I don't think I measure up." That fear, born from myths, eats away at confidence. And it does so unfairly. Here's the truth you rarely hear. Science shows that the average erect penis length is between 5 and 6 in, with a girth of about 4.5 to 5 in. And when women are asked privately without the pressure to impress or the noise of social media, their overwhelming preference is for exactly that range, average. Not the exaggerated images, not the extremes that men imagine. Average, that's what women actually choose when they're honest and unpressured. So, if you're anywhere near those numbers, you are already in the zone that most women prefer. But what happens when men ignore this truth and keep believing the media myths? Shame, anxiety, a constant sense that you're falling short. And the tragedy is that many men who are perfectly normal, even ideal, spend years of their lives carrying around an insecurity that has no basis in reality. I think of one patient of mine, a man in his late 60s who told me he had avoided intimacy for years because he was convinced he wasn't big enough. When I showed him the scientific averages and assured him that he was well within the preferred range, he broke down in tears. Decades of silent suffering denying a single conversation. That's the damage these myths cause. Gentlemen, I want you to understand this clearly. Women do not measure your worth in inches. They measure it in trust, in connection, in the way you show up with presence and care. Size is not the story I've been led to believe, and it never was. Letting go of the myths is the first step toward reclaiming your confidence. Because as long as you keep comparing yourself to unrealistic images, You'll never see the truth that you are enough exactly as you are, and if believing myths is the first mistake, then ignoring comfort and fit is the second. Because even when men stop comparing themselves to Hollywood illusions, many still overlook a critical fact. What feels good for a woman has little to do with size and everything to do with comfort, safety, and connection. And that, gentlemen, is where so many men miss the mark. So let's dive into that next. Mistake number 2, ignoring comfort and fit. Number 2, ignoring comfort and fit. One of the most overlooked truths about intimacy is this. The female body was never designed to reward extremes. Too much length or too much girth can actually create discomfort, even pain rather than pleasure. Yet I see men, especially in their later years, still believing that more is always better, pushing themselves to live up to an illusion that not only fails to please their partner, but sometimes makes her dread intimacy altogether. I've had wives and longtime partners confide in me quietly after an appointment, saying, "Doctor, he thinks bigger means better, but sometimes it just hurts." That's not connection. That's not intimacy. And it breaks my heart because what women really long for has very little to do with measurements, and everything to do with how safe and comfortable they feel. I'll tell you a story. Years ago, a gentleman in his 70s came to see me. He was proud, strong, and in many ways still very active, but he was frustrated. His wife no longer seemed eager to be intimate. He assumed it was her age, her hormones, her disinterest, but when I sat with both of them and encouraged open conversation, the truth came out. She admitted she often felt discomfort because of how rushed and forceful intimacy had become. He thought was doing what men were supposed to do. Prove his strength. Show his power, but what she wanted was patience, gentleness, and attention to her comfort. When he shifted his focus from performance to connection, their relationship transformed. For the first time in years, she felt safe, cherished, and willing to open up again. This is the lesson so many men need to hear. Women are not asking for you to perform like an actor in a film. They're asking for you to be present, to slow down, to listen when they say what feels good or what doesn't. Comfort isn't a sign of weakness. It's the foundation of leisure. When a woman feels safe and at ease, her body responds. Her desire grows. Her trust deepens. That's when true intimacy begins. And that's where Eamon finds his real power, not in inches, but in attentiveness. If you think about it, what women value most is not the spectacle of sex, but closeness of it. They don't want to feel like a stage for your performance. They want to feel like a partner in your connection. When you respect her comfort, you send a message. You matter to me, not just my ego. That message can reignite passion in a way no measurement ever could. So, if mistake number 2 is ignoring comfort and fit, mistake number 3 is just as dangerous, assuming that all women want the same thing. Because while comfort is universal, preferences can vary. And understanding that difference will change everything you thought you knew about what women actually desire. Mistake number 3, assuming all women want the same thing. Mistake number 3, assuming all women want the same thing. One of the greatest mistakes men make, especially as they get older, is believing there's one single formula that works for every woman. They assume that if they just had the right size, the right technique, or the right approach, then every woman would be satisfied. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Women are not identical in their desires, their preferences, or even the way their bodies respond. I've seen men chase after some imagined standard for years only to discover later that the woman they loved never cared about it in the first place. Research shows that while most women prefer an average size, there are small variations. For example, some women who experience vaginal orgasms may report a slight preference for a length around 61/2 in. But notice that word slight. We're not talking about extremes, not deficiencies men torture themselves with, but subtle differences within a very normal range. And just as some women lean that way, others don't care about size at all. Many women care far more about connection, trust, and communication than about inches on areolar. I remember counseling a couple in their late 60s. The husband was convinced his wife wished he were larger because he had read something online. He carried that insecurity like a shadow. When I asked his wife directly in a private setting, she laughed gently and said, "Doctor, I don't care about that. I care that he doesn't ask me what I like, what I need, what feels good." That moment changed everything for him. He realized the problem was never his body. It was silence between them. The truth is, women are as diverse as men. Some value physical traits, yes, but almost all value emotional connection. Some may care a little about size, but far more care about how you listen, how you touch, how you make them feel safe and desired. By assuming all women want the same thing, men rob themselves of the chance to learn what their own partner truly craves. And fate is where the deepest satisfaction lies, not in comparing yourself to strangers, but in learning the unique language of the woman beside you. So, I encourage you, if this has been your quiet fear, to shift the coup.